The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
What's up, legends? Welcome to this wonderful Wednesday night. And we have a guest here. We have Rick Vickrey with us tonight to talk about price surging and corporate fisting. So that's kind of the theme of our show tonight. We're going to talk about some corporate fisting and how they're trying to get away with anything and everything on every level at this point. And it's beyond past time where people should stay neutral about it and not talk about it, because right now everybody needs to speak out and they need to tag and be very vocal, or we're all going to get screwed. So that's what's happening. Welcome everybody in our chat. Hello, Big Ray. Hello, and Rick. Hello. Thank you for being here.
Let me just, before he speaks, let me just introduce our friend, ladies and gentlemen. He is a senior producer at Hamin Media Group. Also, you know, it's so funny. I just had this fucking thing up here. Hamin Media Group, ladies and gentlemen. He is a ring announcer, a public address gimmick guy, live event specialist. Yeah, RBV Eats Out. He's a foodie. What else does he do? Oh, he also works for Herd Sports Media and Entertainment. He's a commentator for them as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my good friend, somebody who I pretty much found in the trash can. I shined him up, and he is now a golden statue of goodness. It is Richard Bronson. Yes, that is his name. This is the most manly name in the fucking world. Vickrey. What's going on, brother?
Big Ray, thank you for the introduction there. April, was such an honor that you'd have me included here with the A Show. As Big Ray had mentioned there, it's hard to believe I've been doing this for about almost going on a decade of podcasting. And yes, the credit, it was Big Ray that kind of discovered my talents, that brought me over to the Hamin Media Group, that allowed my voice to shine on that platform, that's opened up all these other opportunities. But even in all those years, almost a decade long, I've been waiting for that grand moment, and I believe it has arrived. I am at the big table here on the A Show. This is one of those pinnacle achievements that you hope to reach in your professional life.
You fucking prick.
We love you.
No, man. So, you know, April, when I first heard Richard Bronson Vickrey's, or Rick's voice, what's the wrestling announcer that you would think he sounds a lot like? Because I was like, holy shit. Who do you think?
Oh, I haven't. I need to hear him talk a little bit more before I say that.
Say something, Rick.
Well, I'd say that this goes way back to the 80s. Yep. Promotion that I also share something in common with, that we've each been in trouble for drinking and driving. That's what lost him his job back then.
Lee Marshall, the voice of the AWA, and Lee Marshall was also the voice of their great Tony the Tiger.
The Tiger.
So I was like, this guy sounds amazing. I remember I was listening to him and Michael Jargo, who's a fucking phenomenal producer and just awesome on-air person. He's just a great person in general. So anyway, I just wanted you guys to get to know Rick. Rick, thank you, man, for coming on with us, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, truly an honor. And it was just this past week where I saw something that April had tweeted out, or I believe it was on Facebook, on social media. And it prompted me. And when I had seen it, and it's been causing a stir, it is Wendy's and their surge pricing announcement. And I immediately went down that rabbit hole. That is my day job. My shoot job is I work as a consultant, mainly for restaurants in, handling their social media, coming up with, their strategies of bringing, making the bucks. So.
Oh, wow. So you know exactly what we're dealing with here. And before we do this, let's make sure. Colin says Twitch is not working properly for him. Are we okay? Just make sure everybody's good.
Yeah, we're good.
And hi, welcome everybody here. Hello. Okay, so that's interesting that you're in that line of work there. Okay, so if people are unhappy about this, and Wendy's considering surge pricing, to explain that in layman's terms, they want to do what Uber does. So they're going to basically double down and hit you up harder because you want to eat at lunchtime or you want to eat at dinner time. So just like Uber costs more at certain times. So this is not fair. Now I get it. Uber basically works on a supply and demand, but Wendy's they're trying to get away with something that's really not cool. And you can guarantee that if one of them gets away with it, they're all going to do it, just like bag fees. So bag fees were implemented to offset gas prices. It was supposed to be temporary. They're $20. And they said that they would just be during the gas increase, Bush administration. Here we are. That was 9/11, right after 9/11. Here we are, 25 years later, 24 years later, 23 years later, we still have bag fees, and they have not only not been abolished, but they have gone from 20 to 25 to 30 to 35. Nobody stood up for it then. People thought it was perfectly okay to have to pay to take their clothing with them after buying a plane ticket. So this is more of that. If you let them get away with it, they will keep doing it. And every airline followed suit except for Southwest.
I will say so much truth in what you're sharing there, April. But two of the big things that jump out is once those fares, those prices go up in any industry, they're not going to take those back down. Once they have you conditioned to buy in at that higher rate, they're going to lock in on that. And I know we're going to talk a little bit later in the show about some of the fallout from the shutdown in COVID and how that kind of shaped, our society and industry. But even like chicken wings back then. You remember back in the day, you got for like a 25-cent wing night, and now they're almost $1. Well, in fact, I know firsthand, those prices per case have dropped. They're almost back to what they were. But the establishments are not, that's not reflecting in the pricing that we're seeing still here today. Now, with the surge pricing, and more particular with Wendy's, it once it catches on in one industry, it's going to find its way across the board. It's going to cross borders. It's going to happen everywhere. It is coming. It is happening. Now, but I don't necessarily think it is as bad as people are initially reacting to this thing. I think the biggest failure from Wendy's is how they announced this and how they handled the marketing with it. Because it really, in food service, this already exists. You see this regularly at grocery stores with an influx, from in produce. If it's seasonal or how
Thanksgiving, how a turkey would cost way more than it would on a regular day.
Yes. Yeah. You regularly said inside of the restaurants themselves, you see it because its existence, in all of our lifetimes, it's something called happy hour or, different meal deals, things like that. And I think that's where Wendy's really dropped the ball here in how they presented this thing. They immediately came out and said, you're might going to have to pay a little bit higher at these rates here, but, they'll decrease during the slower times, which really offended people because we are locked in to believe with fast food, it should be cheap and quick. So anytime that you're going to raise that price there, you're really going to upset people.
Well, let's be honest, it's crap, right? We're eating crap. It's crap food. It's not like we're eating organic, free range, grass fed stuff where they're losing half of it just because they're not putting pesticides on it. So we're eating crap. So you kind of get what you pay for, and you pay for what you get.
It's funny to you when you mentioned Wendy's. They were always ahead of the curve in trying new things like that. As when the company was trying to find its place in the market, one of the cool things with it was instead of investing all this money in development research, Mr. Dave Thomas, the founder, just said, "Hey, wherever they open a McDonald's, find property close to that and open one up. We're going to get their overflow." And they also offered more in the sense of fast food, always fresh, never frozen. That's been one of their mottos for decades, which is why we have Wendy's chili, because they were trying to figure out what to do with all this meat that they were losing. So they were throwing it into chili. So it's become one of their iconic signature dishes, because they needed to stay ahead of the curve. I think a lot of people are offended because right now things are tight across the board. Even going to the grocery store, you regularly see on social media families complaining, it's costing upwards of $200, $250 just to feed a family of 4 at the grocery store. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So when you do to go through a fast food restaurant, you guys remember the days of like the dollar menus.
Yeah.
Those are long gone. Now the cheapest thing, you're lucky if you can find something for $2 or $3. But again, it also plays into, and I don't want to keep using surge pricing because it goes up, but manipulated pricing, if you will, because a lot of those deals you can still find if you use their app, and they're pushing you through an alternative ways of ordering, but you're a controlled customer at that point. So they can, you're all in their market research. That's why they're pushing towards those apps. Now, one of the big
that's all apps though in general. That's why everybody wants you in their app so they can sell your information later.
Absolutely. The funny was, watching wrestling this past week, or what was the last premium event, whatever the heck it was, but it kept asking on Peacock, when you hit OK, the NFL wants to access your private information, which is, and that's what they're all tied into.
Mhm.
Now, with the premium pricing, the surge pricing, whatever it might be, say at a lunchtime, the obvious lunch rush for any restaurant is going to be between like 11:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. What you're going to do there is, for people that are willing to pay a little bit higher price, they're going to be cut through that line a lot quicker. You're going to have more efficient service. So you're paying for a better product all around, from the food that you're eating to what's being presented from the employees inside of that, because they're going to cut the volume down by people choosing not to go there.
Okay.
But the reason they need to raise those prices is because they're cutting the car count coming through. They're already operating on razor thin profit margins, so they're accounting for that with the extra cost in the food.
I thought it would be fun to pull this up really quickly so you guys can take a look at it. I found a McDonald's receipt from 1986. So I was about 10 years old. So I'm gonna pull it up here. We'll just take a quick look at it, as we so you Burger King, I'm sorry. So you see this here, right? You got three Whoppers for $4.62, 2 French fries, $1.58, 2 large vanilla shakes, $1.78. This, I'm reading this off for the people that are just listening.
Wait, at the $4.62 for the 3 Whoppers, that's all 3 Whoppers for $4.62, right? Okay, that's total.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
So then we get taxes, surcharges, so on and so forth. Everything in all, you're able to.
Oh my God, that's a lot of tax.
Isn't that a ton of tax? That was a total.
Is that Canadian?
I think this is somewhere in America, but it's okay. But still, for $20, you're able to get basically 3 meals or 2 large meals, so you can feed you and your kid and your wife or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, I think an average, like just one sandwich at McDonald's, like a Big Mac, is like $5-6. Is that correct? I haven't been to McDonald's in forever.
I don't know.
What about you?
I think it's higher than that.
Yeah, I think it's higher. I hear people talking about $25 bills at McDonald's now.
I did one of those. Yeah, I did one of those double Big Macs the other day, and it was like just shy of $8 just for the sandwich. And I had it, and that was on a special on the app.
Oh shit!
So I can't imagine just over the counter what that is. But there's, when you look at the pricing there, we also have to talk about the increase in their product and how the product is arriving at the facility, and again about the hourly wages now for the employees and your prep and all of that. So there's a lot of factors that tie into why we're seeing again here a surge in pricing.
Well, if I may, April, if you don't have anything.
Wade is saying one fish meal is $12.
One fish meal in McDonald's.
Is that fish sticks?
No, it's probably the fish fillet.
Fish fillet. Oh my God.
So fish fillet, regular fries, and probably like a small Coke.
Mm-hmm.
It's $12. That's a lot of money, but that double that in New York City.
Yeah, or in any airport. Yeah, any airport too.
I just you brought up 2 quick things before April, if you don't mind. Rick, you brought up, if I ordered it on the app, isn't it funny that they keep pushing everybody towards these apps? Why do you think that is?
They make the money back by selling your information. So they cut the money in the front end and they sell it on the back end. They're making far more money off of your information and targeting you as a customer. This is what that person likes. This person's a meat eater. This person's a vegetarian. This person eats fish. This is what they like. You can target them. Mm-hmm. This person has kids. So now you can sell their information to the toy companies and the video game companies. So they're selling your information everywhere, and they're making so much money on that. The sale of information has far surpassed the global oil sales for years now. And when they have an app, it's their own information. They can do whatever they want with it. You're signing your life away when you click that. I agree.
Oh, and just so you guys know, when you get those little weird text messages, hey, you got a UPS delivery, or we can't deliver your package, that's your information being sold on the web. Mm-hmm. And everybody gets it. I get it. My mother gets it. Yeah. I'm sure, Rick, you've gotten it. April. I know for a fact, Brandon, we were texting back and forth. He got it. He was like, hey, what do you think it is?
Yeah.
So just know that. But I want to share a video with you guys real quick because, Rick, you spoke about something. What happened?
bigwig. I just hope they don't find out what kind of porn they like. They know exactly what kind of porn
Oh,
they like.
they know.
They know exactly.
They know what everybody's porn is, okay? They know.
So, Rick, you brought up a point that I believe they've raised the minimum wage. And here in New York State, not only did they raise it, but now they make an hourly wage. I just wanted to show you guys. It's less than 3 minutes. It's a short video, a report here in New York City on how it's affecting the delivery workers. Can we look at that? And then I'll let you both more discuss it. Is that cool?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Here we go. We're going to jump right into this. Let me just stretch this out, make this a little bigger so we can see their pretty faces. I do not want the 2-month gimmick. And here we go.
Well, it was designed to help delivery workers, but now New York's new minimum wage law is getting mixed reviews.
Right, that's because the companies who opposed the change responded by limiting workers' hours, making it more difficult for customers to tip.
Fox 6's Chris Welch talked to some delivery workers on how they're trying to make ends meet.
New York City is setting the tone for across America.
I don't like this guy.
Adams in June of last year, touting the city's move to implement.
Say that again, April.
I don't like this guy.
Oh, he's a piece of shit,
I
Eric
don't think
Adams.
He's good for anybody.
Now, I want you to pay attention to what everybody says, what they think is good for us, and what's really happening. All right?
I think he's very bad for everybody.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a Gavin Newsom.
Oh, he's the worst.
Yeah, he's a Gavin Newsom. They're just terrible. They're terrible.
So is Rick
Anyway.
Vickrey. All right, bye.
The first in the nation minimum pay rate for app-based delivery workers. By his side, Ligia Gualpa, the executive director of the Workers' Justice Project, which had been fighting for the change.
And what that means for deliveristas is that finally they will not have to rely mostly on tips as a main source of income, but that actually they will be paid for their work.
Delivery workers seem to agree. They're finding it harder to make as much money.
I feel frustrated. I feel sad because I have to support my family in my country.
I don't think we're going to survive.
William Medina and William Lopez are both delivery workers who have noticed a decrease in the amount of work since the minimum wage went into effect. Medina, who is also a leader with Los Deliveristas Unidos, who fought for the new wage law, says the delivery app companies are making it harder for workers to get hours.
Do you want to jump in and say anything before we continue this? Okay.
There was one thing that really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the gentleman saying that he has to work hard here to support his family in his country. Where's that at?
Yeah, no shit.
Where are they at? Where's he sending the money?
Hey, at least he's working hard.
Yeah,
Or at least he's
absolutely.
working to do it. You know.
All right.
I have
This
no issues.
multi-billionaire company, they don't care about working.
He says they've
That's it.
retaliated by changing or in some cases moving the option to tip off the order page.
Yeah.
Workers' Justice Project's Ligia Gualpa says companies are actively making their jobs harder.
By reducing the tipping option, by retaliating, deactivating workers, which translates to firing, pausing, and even shifting around their algorithms, systems to make it harder for workers to work.
William Lopez, who says his earnings are now a fraction of what they used to be, does not blame the app companies. He says they need to raise fees and prices to justify the new cost of wages, and he thinks people aren't tipping now for a different reason.
Maybe because they think that the drivers are making $30 or $20 an hour, there's no need for them to tip because they believe that we are making enough money to live.
Uber Eats tells us flat out that changing the in-app tipping function was not retaliatory, but in fact, the city's rules require it. DoorDash tells us their tipping function was simply moved from before checkout to after, and Grubhub tells us while we remain committed to complying with the new pay standard, we've had to make changes to our platform to ensure that we can continue running a sustainable business considering the added costs of operating in the market. Chris Welch, Fox 5 News.
Thank you, Fox 5 News.
Corporations are going to corporation.
All
We'll
right,
find a way around it.
I'll let you guys talk about this.
Oh my God! Yeah, go ahead.
I think there was a lot of interesting information shared inside of that. One of the things that I didn't really think about or notice right away, I subconsciously noted because I use DoorDash regularly a few times a week, And they moved the tipping portion to the back end. So you're seeing all of these fees and your totals, and then they hit you at that very last moment for it. So after you've already processed all these numbers and you're looking at where you can save yourself, that's that very last option. That's what's going to get cut. I just recently learned that you can customize a tip instead of just using a percentage, which I liked. I thought that was very fair for, the person that's responsible for the delivery. What jumped out to me in that video, and what I've been saying for a long time about the service industry, but especially food service, is that we have, as a country, we have devalued their, what they bring to our society. We have valued that for so long, telling them you're not worth a certain pay, that your job isn't supposed to support a family. And I do agree with those. That is a case that is more of an entry level into professional learning, different things there. But when you regularly just beat people down about it, they're going to feel worthless. They're going to feel like they're unappreciative. And that in turn is going to show in the quality of the product that we receive here. Now, the other side of the tipping, which was a selling point of those industries, because the better you were at your job, that was your potential. And now with all these other people thinking that you're already making too much off the top, that your job's easy, that that there is no real skill set required to do what you do, we devalue that, and it's harder for them to make money.
Yeah. I would agree. Okay. So in every other country, so America barely pays their servers. For people who don't know, and this has not changed forever. When I started serving, when I was like a kid, forever ago, and that was forever ago.
You were like 6, right, when you got your first job?
Pretty much. I actually was working
in the mines.
At 12 and 13 years old. I was pet sitting and babysitting and selling lemonade. But when I was serving, I was getting $2.01 an hour, and I think it went up to $2.17 an hour. So, and the average tip back then was, I think, 15%. So the average tip now is about 20%. But Americans, as a whole, for the food service industry and bartending and all that, they rely on tips. And not only that, your server has to split those tips with the bartender and the bar backs who clean the tables. So whatever you're leaving your server, they're leaving part of that to other people. Additionally, if you leave that tip on a credit card, they're losing 3%, at least 3% because of credit card fees. So whenever you can, leave a tip in cash. So there's that right out of the way. So when I have lived in other countries like Canada, England, Germany, they have a different situation. They pay a living wage that is comparable to their servers, and they have the option of very minimal tipping. Like in Canada, it is twice the tax. So if you live in a province with a low tax like Alberta, you're getting fewer tips. But if you live in, say, Ontario, you're making a little more money because they have different and higher taxes. The tipping is very minimal in European countries, if at all. But when they come here, they kind of think it's the same thing when it's not. But the service is horseshit. Okay. They will drop your food off at your table. And aside from the nicer restaurants in, say, like in France, where you're paying money, you will never see that server ever again. So if you need salt or pepper or a drink refill or some ketchup, you can go F yourself. Oof. So that is where we might be headed. So America is a service-based industry. And if you take away the tipping, and I'll 100% agree that the tipping has gotten out of hand, and so the service fees. I will not use DoorDash because their fees are so freaking high that I will actually stop drinking and go drive out and get my food. And I'll plan it out. I'll be like, I need to sober up and go in 2 hours to eat. Because I'm not paying that. So I'm not paying double for my meal. I'm just not doing it. But the tipping for everything, I mean, like they want you to tip at a place just for them doing their job. It's gotten ridiculous. But when it comes to food and service and, things where it's service based, yeah, you should tip. And if you don't, you're not going to get good service. And we're going to turn into basically a socialized democracy, which is, I think, what people want. Not people. I think people in charge want. They want a socialized democracy. That's where we keep heading. You guys don't understand this. Not you guys, but people. You don't understand because most people have never lived anywhere else. They've never gone anywhere else. And if you've gone somewhere else, you've gone on a cushy freaking yacht or a cruise ship, and you've done a tourist thing. And, you've gone to Cuba on a tour and you get back on the thing and you've never actually experienced Cuba. You've never experienced real communism. You've never experienced real socialism. So you don't know what it's like. You don't know when it's happening to you. Increment by increment by increment. And this is that. This is just another thing.
It's a shame here. Like Heather Hunter, I thought it was the Heather Hunter. I don't know if you know what that is.
You wish.
I wish.
You wish it was.
She's like my all-time favorite, just so you know. But anyway, she says, I used to make $2 on one delivery. That's not good. Is that? I mean,
yeah, that's not even covering your
I don't know what their mileage, coverage is as well. But I mean, that doesn't seem that's even worth picking up the order.
So Champagne Kenny, he said he lived in East Germany in the late 70s. Like, how was that for you? If you want to fill us in, tell us.
Bigwig was basically saying that he tried to give a tip in France, and they looked at him like he was pure evil for doing that. They got upset.
Yeah, France is an exception to that rule. Like, you can tip a little bit in England. France, they feel like they're doing their job. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to tip. So it depends. It's part of knowing where you are.
I'm here in the Midwest, redneck country, the flatlands. You guys are in areas that are a little more progressive. If you're not in Florida or Tampa, right? So you got a lot of tourism coming in. So you're adapting more to those international flavors. Ray, you're in, the heart of it all there in New York. Do you guys have you seen a lot of restaurants in your areas pushing towards that no tipping?
No.
Matter of fact, I've seen the opposite. What they have implemented down here is they've implemented mandatory tipping or adding the tip on because we have, and hello, everybody joining us. Hi, BRV. We have so many Canadians and British and Europeans coming in that are unaware of our ridiculously low pay and our high tip standards, that they will take up a table or a seat at a bar all night long and drink and eat and then not tip. So now what they're doing in my area of Tampa Bay, and I don't know a lot of people if this is happening to you, but now they will do an automatic 18%.
TN Couponer, if you want to go back in the show, this is what we're talking about now.
Just missed our conversation.
TN, we're talking about this.
You just missed it.
I was curious about, the world travelers coming to those areas, if they, understood our system. So essentially what you're seeing there is to counter that, people coming over, international customers, is we're just adding gratuity in those areas.
And that hurts. Well, look, that hurts it's good for foreigners, but it hurts for some of the Americans who are used to getting sometimes 20, 25%. So if it's automatically taken, a lot of times people don't like it. So let me balance it out here. So just like foreigners might not know American customs, Americans have the theory that the French are rude. But in Paris, it has been typical to have your home in the back of a shop. So it is culturally appropriate to walk into any shop in France, in Paris, and say bonjour. And at 5 o'clock, it switches it over to bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Good evening. So if you don't say hello when you walk into a shop, you're considered rude as anything. So
even if you pass somebody in the street, it's customary to be like, bonjour.
Well,
right?
Maybe it depends on where you are, but I know for sure that's how it is in shops. So Americans don't learn the culture when they go there, and then they get an attitude from the people who live there, and then Americans come back and say the French are rude when it's actually the other way around. They didn't bother learning the culture. So we have to assume that the Europeans and the Australians and the British and the Canadians, maybe they're not learning our culture either.
I just want to jump in real quick, give a big shout out to Pierce Austin, who just had April on his show. So search out the Pierce Austin podcast, ladies.
What's up, legend?
This guy is awesome. And I want, it's funny, April, real quick. I want him to have you back on because I felt, even though the conversation was a long,
dude, I had to be up at 6:45 for that.
That's nothing, April. 6:45 p.m. There needs to be a part 2. I'm just saying. Now, I want to say a quick hello to Colin and Billy Ray Valentine and Matt Schaffer and some of the people that jumped in TM Couponer. But I want to read this really quickly, if you guys don't mind. This is my buddy Matt Schaffer. We all know him.
I think
here.
MSG was making a good cut for a while on DoorDash.
So this is why I wanted to read this. It says the reality is a lot of people lost jobs as well. And those people are now DoorDashing. DoorDash pays $2 per delivery and they keeps. All right. So that means
that's probably they keep the tips, right?
They keep the tips. It says, so DoorDash delivery rely on tips. So those who were surviving on tips are now competing with the new drivers who just lost their jobs. And I have to say, listen to the Suck My Balls podcast. It is, what's the name of the show over there? The
South Park Review.
South Park Review with my buddy Matt Schaffer. It's pretty awesome. If you like South Park, there's like 400 seasons. They will never run out of content. So what do you think of that, guys? What do you think of this comment here?
You go ahead, April.
No, you go ahead.
I think the MSG bring up an interesting point. Going back to the shutdown, where we have shifted society of really how the workplace is handled in so many different industries, and people not working inside the restaurants. They're looking for alternative style jobs. So now there's a flood into professions like DoorDashing or side hustles, if you will, like DoorDashing. So you've got a lot of competition there, again, and everybody's out there. You're relying on people to use this service so that there's a little cut of the pie for everybody.
Yeah. We have our very own Colin Wysong in here. It was my producer and my co-host previous to Ray.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. You suck. What?
And he said he was making good money before Christmas because he was DoorDashing for a while, and then the tips dropped off. And he said DoorDash also has an option where you can work for an hourly wage in lieu of tips.
This is what I forgot to tell you guys.
And Heather said $8 was her highest tip 1 year.
Check this out, guys. So here in New York,
that's interesting with Kyle. Sorry, Raider, but it's. I wonder. Okay, so if you opt out and take the hourly, who keeps the actual tip, or is that not an option on those deliveries? Is the company themselves pocketing that tip?
Yeah, leave your comment below, guys. Let us know, especially people that But this is what I wanted to tell you before I forget, and I almost forgot. Here in New York City, okay, it is mandatory to tip when doing DoorDash, Grubhub, any of the delivery service, because if you don't, this is what they do. They may choose not to deliver it to you, so you're going to wait an hour sometimes to get your delivery, or you get bumped to the bottom of the list of multiple people who are being delivered. So in other words, if they get your delivery first, if you don't tip, if you choose not to tip first, they're going to fucking wait. They're going to push it all the way down. You're going to wait an hour, sometimes an hour and 20, sometimes 2 hours. Your food's going to come cold and soggy, and it's going to be a terrible experience. So they're forcing you guys to tip here in New York City. I believe New York State.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Heather,
it's surge pricing we were talking
yeah,
about.
Heather said the same thing. She said, you learn who tips and who doesn't. And Colin said, if they leave you a tip, you get to keep it, but you don't get paid the $2 per order, and you're not a 1099 employee anymore. Wow. Okay.
I just
learning
wanted
some of the tricks of the trade here with
we are. This is interesting.
This is a good conversation. I mean, we spent almost a half an hour on it. We're gonna have to move on, but
Matthew says I made bank at one point because I was in all the high programs, like the catering programs. Like I make good money on large orders, but for me in Arizona, it started dropping off 6 months ago. That's why I had to get a big boy job, and I'm moving to the East Coast. Sorry about that job thing. It really gets in the way of life, doesn't it?
Billy Ray Valentine says if you work at the right restaurants here in New York City, you'll do great on tips. I've always tipped really well. I'm not rich. I'm not rich at all. I'm not wealthy. But if I get good service here in New York City, I always tip 20 and above. I've always had.
Because you come from the service industry.
I've always
know what it means to be able to
20%.
hustle to get things out there.
Yeah.
So you're appreciative. I'm the same way. It's a lot of times I'm 50% on a damn tip of something because I know what those individuals are going through and I know what it means to them. And a good tip to anybody on a certain day or time of year, it could change everything. And it changes their service going forward for the next people because they're in a better mood. They're feeling good about themselves again. And it kind of goes back to my biggest problem with this industry is as a society, we're beating these individuals down to almost make them feel like their contributions are worthless.
I remember I went
I don't know, but bringing me my food when I'm hungry, that is not a worthless contribution.
You're right.
That is all I have to say.
I remember one time I went really quickly. I went to lunch with Billy Ray Valentine. I think you remember this. And we had a big lunch and everything. I was about to tip. It was Billy Ray's, no, I got it. And Billy Ray just, he threw down like 3 quarters and a string from his fucking pocket. I was like, what is this? What a cheapskate. Anyway, continue.
When my grandpa would go out and he'd be like, I got tip, guys, I got tip. We'd always have somebody stay behind and circle back around to leave more of it.
Yeah.
We got some
boobies.
Dude, yeah, if you throw your biddies, we get to shake them titties. So thanks, you guys. We appreciate it.
You get some
big ass titties.
Woo!
Oh, look at that smile on Rick Vickrey's face.
Hey, I tried getting Hamin to do that on Monday mornings in the locker room, but nobody was tipping us anything.
Yeah, I tip you guys. You tip me. I tip you.
He got some. He's got some nice man boobs. Thank you for that. Here we go one more time.
Big ass titties.
So let's wrap this up, guys. I just want to hear your thoughts, April and then Rick Vickrey on this whole.
Oh, you heard all my thoughts. I said everything.
Rick,
I think we put it out there. Again, though, back to where we started this conversation. Surge pricing across the board, it is coming. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be about premium services. It's the wave. It is the wave of the future. It's already here. You just don't realize it.
Oh, and if you guys are in the North Carolina area, and if you're at the Glory Hole, please tip Colin. That's all I have to say. He does
okay. I do have a thought. Okay,
hey, I know
Colin. People. Huh?
Well, obviously, someone like Colin, they've gone cashless in those arenas. They can't even tip the ushers and stuff anymore.
Oh my God. I can't frequent any place that goes cashless. I will not do it. I'm sorry. I'm not adding to that ridiculousness. It's not even a thing. Because cash is freedom. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, right? I know people who have like tremendous amounts of money on their credit card, like their bill, and they're paying like 18, 20, 24% on their credit card because of DoorDash, because they don't cook. Here's the thing. How about this? How about you just learn to cook and make your own? I mean, like you could literally sit down, or you could have a meal delivery service like HelloFresh or, one of those types of services. They deliver the food every week. You can get 2-3 meals once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever you want to do. Learn to cook. It's a cooking lesson at the same time, and the food is good instead of ordering or waiting.
I got something to throw out. I know we've been on this topic for a while, but this is a hot topic. See, what people don't understand is.
Oh, by the way, Matthew wants to know where the Glory Hole is.
Oh, it's in North Carolina. Colin, just send Colin a text on Facebook. He has a OnlyFans as well. So here's the deal. I want you guys to tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, so they're now in certain states, they wanted people to make $50 an hour, like some ridiculous bullshit. I forgot, one of the congresswomen was talking about that. If they raise the minimum wage up, which they have, this is what happens. Those entry-level jobs are going to disappear. So these young kids that are trying to get their first jobs, they're not going to be able to have that experience. That's number one. Number two, for people that decide to make a career out of that, because there are certain people that they work their way up into management and they become managers, general managers. That's great. If that's going to be your path to a good life, God bless you, do it. But guess what's going to happen? The higher the wage, the less they can afford to hire employees. Yeah. You will lose your job. And guess what? Those little touch screens you use on your phones, that's your replacements, my friends. Yeah. Robots and touch screens. There'll be 2 employees, one making a burger, one taking the order, and that's it. Yeah. 50% or more.
There's already test restaurants where they run with one person. It's an IT person.
Yeah, they're already
machines flipping the burgers and putting it out. You pull up, you'll order on your app. It'll come out to you. I mean, eventually they're already running them out globally. These test restaurants that are completely immobilized, where all you've got is some IT guy sitting in a little closet somewhere running that thing.
Yeah, they're already there's this conspiracy theory about that. So the conspiracy theory is that there's been a mass depopulation agenda that's been going on for a while and will continue to go on because there's far too many people for the next revolution, the tech revolution that has been coming and is coming, because there's no work coming up. They're going to replace all the people with AI and computers. So where are they going to put all these people if they don't want to have to pay them out a universal basic income every month, they're going to have to get rid of them. And the best way to get rid of them is a slow kill. And that's make them sick, make them have heart attacks, make them die somehow. But you got to get rid of them.
Fast food.
Yeah, you got to get rid of them. You got to tell them that obesity is beautiful and that vaccines are super great for you. And that brings us to our next category.
That's a transition for you, Ray.
I don't know if that conspiracy theory is true or not, but we can't rule out any conspiracy theory these days.
So I was searching on Google and I saw this. And it says here that CDC treatment basically for COVID. So it says that means, I was going to read it verbatim. The CDC is now both streamlining and simplifying its recommendations and advising people to treat their COVID infections like they were the flu or any other respiratory illness. Basically, and I've done some research on this.
Excuse me for a minute. Oh my fucking God!
I know.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. This is the deadliest disease in history. We had to shut down the world for the first time ever. The show.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
All right. So basically what they're saying is they're saying that this fucking and by the way, remember when grandma was really sick in the hospital and fucking dying and you couldn't see her?
By herself?
Yeah, by herself with a fucking surrounded by glass and shit. Remember when I couldn't see my aunt? I couldn't travel to Savannah, Georgia, see my aunt who was like a second mother to me die?
Remember when you had to have your baby by yourself and the father of your baby wasn't allowed to go into anything with you, or when you had to put your pet down but you couldn't be with your pet, the vet just had to take your pet and put it down because this was so deadly.
Here's the here's the soundbite. This is the best one. Hold on, ready?
Not the kind of person to say I told her so, but you know what? I told her so. I told her so.
April, this is your baby. Why don't you tell us what the CDC is now saying?
I have motherfucked these people for so long now. How long have I been talking about this? This is 4 years, okay? Because I got the alpha version of COVID December 2019 with 2 different autoimmune issues, and I survived it. It was terrible, but I had autoimmunity after that, and I have been basically an experiment as to what is going on out there. I've used myself to experiment with a bunch of things, and I've paid attention to a lot of what's going on. I have followed the silenced, not the science, and I've found so much. There's been so many lies. And right down to the British Journal of Medicine was given falsified medical papers that everybody used as their information and ran with. So all those times you fought with your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, all those times you fought and they said, we're just going to follow the science. Thanks a lot. Or this right here, these are the facts. That is what was not the facts. They were not the truth. So here is the thing that drives me nuts. You could be on the side of basically everybody lost something. Everybody lost something. We were lied to. We were deceived. We all know that. Anybody who's living in an alternative reality, you need to just go jump off a freaking cliff at this point. You are beyond helping. So if you are on the side of reality, like, a lot of us are now, and we have been the entire time as we've been warning people, you realize that these mother truckers shut the entire world down, and they killed small business, and they killed your family with hospital treatments, not COVID, hospital treatments. That's why nobody died anywhere except in hospitals, because the CARES Act awarded them $31,000 per COVID death. Okay. Everywhere else in the world, historically, anybody with a disease has died everywhere. They've died at their homes. They've died sitting in front of the sofa on the TV. They've died on the streets. They've died in their cars. They've died in their backyards.
How about my buddy?
This one.
How about my buddy who had Lyme disease, and because of all the fucking lockdowns, okay, because he couldn't leave his house for months, because he was fucking stressed out, he fucking killed himself.
There's that too. There was the highest suicide rate.
He fucking killed himself. I'm sorry to curse up like a storm, but he fucking killed himself.
Oh, we all know a lot of people who have done that. That's I haven't even gotten to that part yet. they have destroyed people's businesses. They've destroyed family businesses that were in generations and generations and generations. They destroyed family farms. Do you remember when the mink were carrying COVID and they killed every single mink, every single animal on the farm from generations and generations and generations of animals that these were farmed? They destroyed everything. They let people's families die in hospitals alone, die in elderly homes alone. Okay, there's that side. Then they forced vaccines on people, or you had to be fired, you were unfriended, you were uninvited to your family's house, you were ostracized, bullied, threatened, wished death. Or maybe that's just me. But this is what actually happened. Some places we watched the entire world go up against us and say that we should be jailed and not allowed into hospitals.
Yep.
So they didn't let us go anywhere or do anything. And then you've got the other side. Now, if you're on the other side now, where you're wearing 3, 4, 5 masks and you're up to your 9th injection, now you have the government saying that they don't care about you. They're not asking anybody to quarantine anymore. They're just sending everybody out into your workplace without giving any thought to you whatsoever. They don't care if you're wearing masks. They don't care if you are taking their vaccine. They don't care about you. They're not making anyone quarantine or wait 5 to 7 days after they've been sick. They're saying you can go right back to work and infect anyone. So they're sending them right back into your area without any wait whatsoever. So everybody across the board should be angry. I am tired of people being mad at basically people are angry at the wrong people and they're turning against each other. And instead, they need to basically cut the strings of the people pulling you got puppeteers here. You got to cut those strings. We need to unite and turn against the puppeteers because they're the ones that have done all of this. They've been caught in the lies. They're doing it again and again and again. They'll keep on doing it unless we hold them accountable.
Rick, you are a big supporter of the vaccinations. I heard you've been vaccinated 762 times in 24 months.
Absolutely. Like Pez, baby.
Allegedly, and I'm not making this up, you can Google it right now, get on your cell phones, guys. Apparently, there's a study that says men should, I'm not kidding, get the injection directly into their penis so that, like on the side of the penis, yes, because it absorbs it quicker and it helps you fight the virus better. Rick, all jokes aside, Rick is
the old Prince Albert injection.
The old Prince Albert, yeah, he was over. So. Rick, your thoughts on this whole situation? You live in an area, a part of the country where they kind of weren't like really all pro-vaccine, correct? Everybody wanted to stay open, but a lot of mom and pop shops did shut down because of this bullshit. Like, come on, break it down here.
You bring up a good point there. I mean, we lost a third of small business during that shutdown, and that fall, and there's never came back. Good old BRB.
Billy Ray Valentine says Richard Bronson Vickrey looks like he's been vaccinated many times. That's just a nice deep red suntan, right, my friend?
Yeah, that's you. Hey, we're talking about this. It is because it is an autoimmune disorder that I have. That causes it here. So yes. So as we're talking about the seriousness of COVID or the non-seriousness of this, continue to mock my medical condition here.
Oh my God, you scumbags! But seriously, go ahead, buddy.
But we lost all those businesses, and even and more so inside of that, we changed how we operate as a society. We lost all these brick and mortars where they found out that they can send individuals to work from home, and you created now this divide where we have got a youth, that are coming into their own that have completely lost the ability to go out and socialize, that are losing their social skills.
Good point.
And this was very devastating. Even the kids, like Aiden's age, Ray, that had lost that for so long, and so many students, it was traumatizing to them. Jargo, my podcast partner, with his girls in high school at that time, and they were losing their senior year. And it had set back, They
didn't get to graduate. They didn't get to graduate. They didn't get to walk.
No, I graduated the year before. I was so grateful I got to walk at a university. I can't imagine. There's so many kids that didn't get to graduate. It was so
Well,
sad.
and that's all those other things that you miss, your proms or you're hanging out, all those memories, but it's those social interactions that we're now missing. And now you'll see it. So many kids, college age and younger, they can't even go out and hold conversations with strangers or anything like that, or know how to go meet people.
We talked about this like 2-3 shows ago. And I was working on MegaCon, and I was saying that it's a really weird. They tribe up and they don't really come up to anybody and have conversations. It's just so strange at the Comic Cons. I've noticed it. You're absolutely correct.
Well, those are probably AEW fans, the old nerds, dorks. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rick.
But I mean, that to me, and Ray, you're talking about your friend who the rigors and the strains of what they were experiencing took it to an ultimate extreme. They're taking their own life. And how many people have now just had serious haven't gone that far, but just are dealing with serious depressional issues now going forward.
I would like to see real quick before I forget. I would like to see a study on how it accelerated, how being locked down accelerated dementia and accelerated Alzheimer's. Because real quick, Rick, keep your thought. I have 2 people that I know very well, older people that they lived in the building I work in as a doorman. Long story short, two of the 2 people that was locked down and they went away. They came, they stayed with their families locked down for almost 2 years. They came back, and one of those 2 people, it totally gone. Like, she doesn't remember anything. And that wasn't the same person that I knew when she left. That's number 1. Number 2, same shit happened to somebody else. And it accelerated. And the family
told me. That's what Julie Strain just died from last year. Advanced Alzheimer's. And she was barely older than I am.
Go ahead, Rick. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was done with my thought there. But there's a seriousness with it, and now even more with more people working from home or in secluded areas, we're not getting that human interaction across the board.
What do you think, April?
I want to give you guys a little bit of history real quick, okay?
Go for it.
And then we're going to come right back to this. You know how they're talking about RSV nonstop, and they're also talking about measles nonstop, of which my entire generation had.
Which I just got over the RSV, and I'm still suffering from it.
Yeah, let's go into that. So they're talking about Florida and measles, and barely anyone has. We're a state that's so big we swing entire elections. Okay, like 8 kids have measles here. My entire generation had measles and chickenpox.
Chickenpox parties, remember those?
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Trust me, you don't need a vaccine for it. So let's talk about that actually, because it all plays into this. Okay. So do you know how we've got this plethora of RSV all of a sudden that came out of nowhere, right? Do you know how RSV was started?
Talk to me.
So 1955, RSV was started in a lab where they were experimenting with it with chimpanzees, and they deliberately infected, it was a Walter Reed Memorial, I believe, off of a military base. They deliberately infected one of their lab workers just to see if it would go ahead and transfer. So it did. It turns out he had the antibodies. So they went ahead and released it outside. Now they're military barracks, like I said. And it turns out like 8 kids ended up testing positive for the antibodies. Again, military barracks, close living, right? So this is the 1955, right? This is the first time that there was an RSV. Fast forward many, many years later, all of a sudden, this thing is all over the place like crazy. It was an experimental virus, like I said, created like COVID. It was a weapon. It was weaponized. They released it on the people deliberately. It has killed lots of children and lots of elders. And now, amazingly, they have the vaccine for it. So they create the problem. Then they create the vaccine.
Then they make money.
Yeah.
So,
and now, oh my gosh, the vaccine is linked to Guillain-Barré syndrome. So a nerve disorder, which incidentally, they're pushing the shingles vaccine. Same thing. Also linked to Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, this is a syndrome we've heard almost nothing about. All of a sudden, it's crazy everywhere. Just like rare myocarditis. How many people had myocarditis before 2021? Like 16. I'm being smart ass, but myocarditis was actually exceptionally rare. Unfortunately, myocarditis is not rare. No matter how many times they put the word rare in front of myocarditis, that does not make it so. They have lied over and over and over again. And unfortunately, myocarditis is not, you do not heal from it. It causes scarring of the heart. So when your heart is scarred, it does not heal. And most people that have myocarditis die within 6 years of having gotten myocarditis. That's the part they're not telling you. So bear that in mind. So there's that. Let's also talk about febrile seizures. Okay. So there is absolutely no scientific link, none, to autism from vaccinations. None. Science cannot find that link. However, there is a real serious link to febrile seizures and autism. So one was, if you were to dig a little bit and say, oh my gosh, what causes febrile seizures, which is a spiked, a very, very high spiked temperature. Do you know what causes a very high spiked temperature?
What's that? Your boobies. Boobies. No? Sorry.
Giving a kid quite a few vaccinations. So what has happened is, the medical community and the scientific community will say they like to say 2 + 4 = 5, when actually it's 2 + 2 + 2 = 6. If you go ahead and dissect all this, so you give a kid multiple vaccinations, it causes a side effect of a spiked temperature, which brings on a febrile seizure. The febrile seizure is directly linked to autism.
Heather Hunter says, girl, you're reading my brain. You are amazing.
So thank you. So
I think Heather's a friend of mine, so hopefully she is a new fan. Will be tuning in here weekly.
Yeah, Billy Ray, BRV, says Guillain-Barré system has been linked to vaccines for some time. In the 70s was mainstream news. Yeah, and also, they were trying to push swine flu vaccine on people then too, which was never created by swine. They put down entire massive amount of hogs for a virus that was not linked to pigs, but they devastated pig farmers because of it. So this is the medical community and the pharmaceutical community, the pharmaceutical motherfucking complex that we have been dealing with for decades, that people will not understand. They are corrupt. They sponsor every news channel. They lie. They do not care about you. They want you to be sick because that is how they make their money. And the sicker you are for the longer amount of time with a more devastating disease, and they want your kids to be sick too, you will make them money. And they will alter every little bit of science it takes. The science that you follow will say exactly what they have sponsored it to say. Why can't you motherfuckers get that through your fucking heads?
Well, Rick, you're a motherfucker. Your thoughts?
I'd say she is all there. April is just spitting truth here. What a hell of a promo. Absolutely right there.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, but I'm angry. I'm angry that so many people were stupid enough to
why were they putting a mic
again.
in your hand back in the day on television?
Oh my, because they were afraid of what I would say. But these are the same doctors that said cigarettes are healthy for you. Vioxx is okay. Accutane is great.
9 out of 10. What is it? 9 out of 10 doctors prefer Lucky Strike.
Exactly.
Rick, your thoughts, buddy? That was one hell of a informative promo there, and it wasn't a promo. It was just her speaking some truth. What do you think, Rick?
It's all honesty. It's funny when you follow the history, you follow that trail. You see how they manipulate and turn to their takes to sell whatever is current for the agenda. And how they spent all those years keeping us separate, and now they're trying to force us back into those trends where it's okay to go out and join the herd again. Don't worry about all that the last 4 years. That was nothing to do with anything.
Yep.
Outside of the pharmaceuticals and their personal pockets, I'm wondering, there was one side, a party that mainly focused on this agenda, or what are they trying to correct as we do approach a major political season. They're trying to erase of what the separation that they were responsible for over the course of this last 4 years. They know they have got to try to erase that and present that they want to bring a bond, to bring people back together again.
I just wanted to throw this really quickly up, and again, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys who are tuning in for the first time, not participating, we're live every single week on YouTube at Heather Hunter. I'm thinking about my favorite star. Anyway, Heather Hunter, no, at April Hunter. Jesus fucking Christ, at April Hunter on YouTube, also on Twitch. You just search the A Show on Twitch, and also we're on Rumble at the A Show, and Heather Hunter now says, and I quote, I've been saying we need a hot female with big boobies to scream this. Yes, girl. People will listen. We're live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. except for next week. We'll get into that at the end of the show. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll tell you what, isolation, like what they did to us, that is a form of punishment in prison. So that's what they do to punish people.
Yeah.
So to keep us separated, all the greatest things that have ever happened in the history of humanity happened because we came together. And you're right. We're not left, we're not right here. We're just somewhere in the middle. And the left right now wants everybody to forget, because we do have short memories. They want us all to forget what happened and how we were treated. And we cannot forget that. I've actually had people say to me, they're like, I can't believe you're still talking about that. Yeah, I'm still talking about it, and I'm going to keep on talking about it. I'm never going to shut up until something comes of it, because if you let this go, they will do it again and again and again and again, because they can. So now is the time to speak up and hold people accountable. Just like if you're upset with surge pricing or anything else that your favorite corporation is doing, you need to not be neutral anymore. You need to not sit there and not say anything. You need to say something and tag them and write them letters and let them know that you're unhappy, you're voting with your dollars, you're not going to support it.
Gam Wolfers, don't you do some delivery stuff too as well? I would like to hear your thoughts on the whole price congestion and COVID and stuff. Anyway, this was a very deep, interesting, informative, angry, but yet also loving a conversation regarding this whole bullshit that they've been lying to us for 4 fucking years. But I wanted to hear any closing
a lot longer
thoughts.
than that, but really hard for the last 4 years. Yeah.
But I want before I hear some closing thoughts, as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, so I was really sick on Valentine's Day. I didn't get to have sex because I had RSV. And
sounds like your wife got one hell of a gift then.
Unfortunately,
a night without you climbing on top of her.
Shut up, you son of a bitch. But the truth is that this thing sucked, and it lingered on for quite some time. Actually, not till about 2 days ago. I still had like little dizzy spells and kind of like tough breathing and shit. But had some orange juice and I got over it. I'm just saying, it ain't that bad. Rick, I just wanted to hear your closing thoughts on this whole COVID thing, and then April, you can shut the door before we move on. We got a couple other things. We have about a half an hour left.
It's the conversation is the front row seat, the education that we've gotten here today. Again, the facts are there. You follow that trail and you see the reality that's unfolding in front of us, and more scary than any disease, any sickness that's out there is what the politicians are trying to push off on us right now.
Yeah. All right, April, anything to close off with?
Yeah, 2 things. You have to remember that the media is corporate owned. It is literally the 4th branch of government, and they can fear you and steer you in any direction, and they do. So you have to bear that in mind for everything. One of the things, like we've been predicting all of this. We've been calling it down the whole time. We've been warning people, and we've paid for it. We've been punished for it. I have been punished for it, and I do not care. I will just keep on saying what I'm saying, and it's just, like I said, I feel like it's my mission in this lifetime during my human experience to be this person. One of the things that has come out for sure this week, and we've talked about this previously too, because this was my suspicion, is that the designed lipid nanoparticles that are in the vaccine are transferable through body fluids. So They are transferable through blood and blood transfusion. They are transferable through organ donation, through donors who have passed away to live recipients. They are transferable through breast milk. And to a lesser extent, they are transferable through sexual intercourse. Now, my suspicion is that is anal sex, not penis, vaginal sex.
Jesus, Colin.
I believe it would be anal sex on that one.
Colin.
No one's talking about that one. That's just my assumption because there's much more of a direct pathway there.
Tell Colin to stop backing up to that glory hole.
Well, he's screwed. He's totally screwed.
Turn around.
No more tips, Colin.
But this is what we've been talking about for a while. We've been talking about the fact that the organ donors and the blood has, we need a clean blood bank in the United States, and the FDA is blocking that. Other countries have it. So this is something we need. And I would like to see somebody start it.
No.
That's my closing thought. We've been lied to. It's costing people their lives. It's cost them their livelihood. It's cost them sometimes everything. It's cost them their children, their grandparents. It's cost them so much. And there are a lot of people out there right now wondering if they have a ticking time bomb inside of them and if something's going to happen where they're going to drop next or somebody they love is going to drop next. And by the way, there is a detox protocol you can find through frontline doctors that it helps with the spike protein to get it out of your system. And there has been success with it. So look that up. And it includes nattokinase, bromelain, turmeric. It's natural. You can get everything on Amazon. So if you are concerned about that, it's worth looking into. But people should not have to live in fear, and they should not have been forced to make a decision without being fully informed. Makes me mad.
Amen to that.
That's it.
Before we jump into this next topic, I wanted to hear your thoughts. April, you wanted to bring up the Lara Logan testimony. Before we do that, I just want to go to Rick real quick. Rick, so RBV Eats Out. Now, I am a big fan of food. I think we all love food. Why don't you tell us a little bit about RBV Eats Out? And I just wanted to kind of just take a detour and have a little fun real quick and talk about maybe some of the more interesting things that you've come across in your travels of eating and tasting new things and trying new things out, brother.
Absolutely. And, I my entire professional career, even since I was young, my first job when I, got my foot in the door, it's been in the service industry, gravitate more towards food. What I found is the marketing side of that. And especially inside of food, to me, no matter what the occasion, the event, the happening, it is brought together, it is set off, taken to the next level by those good eats. It's a great, it unifies people, brings us together. Everybody loves some good food, different varieties. Cultures you can explore one another, and you get to see, really get to know individuals through an experience that involves dining. That's what it's about, man. I love going to different places and looking for the crazy, unique eats. My personal favorites, hey, I don't have the healthiest of eating habits. So the more garbage, the better. Some good old American dive bar food is right where it's at for me. Greasy, deep fried.
What's something
we're not judging you here.
What's something that you've eaten out there during your whole venture of RBV Eats Out, and that you're like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna like this, or this doesn't make any sense, but you've had it and it might have been one of your favorite things?
You know what I'm hooked on? That's a good one, Ray, because I am hooked on these things, man. I can't get enough of them right now, and it's something so simple. It's peanut butter jelly bacon cheeseburgers.
Oh my God!
What? It is so delicious. It is amazing.
Where the hell?
It is a game changer.
Where did you eat that?
What kind of jelly? Grape jelly?
Yeah. They use it's a jam. It's a strawberry jam that they use with it.
Okay. So you're getting the salty and the sweet with the peanut butter and the burger.
Yeah, and then a slice of cheddar on there, and all you get that sweetness with the peanut butter and the jam, and then that bacon just fuses it all together. It is an absolute taste bud game changer.
Where did you eat this?
It's a local place around here called Chandler's Burger Bistro. So they're known for their unique burgers, and there's different combination of flavors, and they've had it on their menu for a couple I said maybe a few months, 3 months or so. And I kept eyeing it. And it was one of those things like, I mean, I'm going there. I'm going to get this. I'm set on it this time. And I get there and I panic last minute and I'd go with something, that I'm familiar with. And I finally did it, pulled the trigger on the thing. And I'm so glad that I did it. It has changed my life. I cannot get enough of these things.
Good question. Is the bacon crispy or is it like that floppy bacon like Colin at the Glory Hole?
Hey, I like floppy bacon.
I prefer my bacon limp too, and you always get a pop when you go to the Waffle House and you ask for limp bacon.
Wiggly. I say wiggly. Wiggly bacon.
It is crispy, but man, it is an absolute game changer, man. And it's something that's recently come into my life, and I don't know how I ever lived without it.
Says Hooper says RBV. Do you shout out BAM, peanut butter and jam? Like Phil Collins.
You got it, baby.
There you go, my friend. All right, very cool, man. So April. I remember this story from a long time ago. Lara Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Now she was spitting some truth and she kind of got fired and shit. Like,
oh yeah,
refresh us. Like, what's going on with this testimony?
Long story short, if you get a chance, check out the most recent testimony on how many people were censored, fired, and silenced. It all plays into what we were talking about earlier. And Lara Logan, if you're not familiar with her, if you ever have, a woman of the month, woman of the day, woman of International Women's Day, it really should be Lara Logan.
This Friday.
That woman has done so much for truth and humanity and America. And she has literally been sodomized and gang raped to bring us the truth. And in this particular situation, she was one of the ones that helped expose all the lies that have been going on to get us to where we are now. So if you can watch the testimony that just happened, look her up, Lara Logan. You can find her on Twitter. You can find it on, you might be able to find it on YouTube, but you can find, I'm sorry, I still call it Twitter, X. I can't get used to X because when I grew up, everything was like X was rated R stuff or rated X stuff and porn. And then X became like remember there was like the signal of everything was extreme in the 90s. Extreme. So yeah, on X, that's probably why he did it.
X.
Because he's like my generation too. X. Anyway, you can find her clips and everything that will link you there. And it's really worth watching. I mean, it is profoundly interesting that some of the things she says and points out. I think everybody should watch it.
I'm just thinking about that Chandler's Burgers Bistro in Ohio, man. I think Heather, she put up the gimmick here. It says chandlersburgerbistro.com. So check that out, guys. Maybe you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich burger gimmick schnabitz. But anyway, April, I have a quick little story, and I know you have a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'll play this quick little YouTube video. Now, this is fucked up. This is how bad things are getting. And they're usually coming from the red states, but I'm from the blue states, but this is from the red state. There was a police officer. I don't know if you heard this story, and she was making about $60,000 a year, but she got fired for $140. What am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Well, check out this story. What a fucking idiot. Here we go. Let me just click the gimmick. 3, 2, 1.
That breaking news is from Columbus. The city council fires a police officer accused of shoplifting. The city council and the mayor met this morning in a special call meeting. In a 5-0 vote, the council terminated Robin Carner. Connor is accused of shoplifting a pair of $140 shoes from Dick's Sporting Goods. But what makes this even more so embarrassing for the city and the department, Chief Joseph Daughtry says the 33-year-old was on duty in uniform with her police cruiser parked outside.
Oh, my.
The City of Columbus Human Resources Director told me that this was Connor's second stint with the Columbus Police Department. She returned 2 years ago. Connor is currently out on bond.
Connor,
you do not want to put a police officer in jail. That's never a good thing.
Rick, this is your neck of the woods. So we have police officers shoplifting. Like, what the hell is going on?
I got to unmute myself there. I was trying not to laugh. Is this Columbus, Ohio that we're getting this from?
It is Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Right up the road here, Columbus, Ohio.
It is. It's right there. That's why I brought up the story.
Ohio, the good old Buckeyes.
What's going on?
Giving up a $60,000 career in law enforcement. On the clock, to go in and shoplift. To me,
she went in with her uniform and the fucking she got, just so you guys understand what happened, she got, she shoplifted basically, and then she got arrested and she got put in her own squad car in handcuffs to be taken back to the precinct.
I'd have been like, can you pass me back my purse?
But this is the big question. What do you guys think? I'll go to Rick first and then April. What do you guys think gets into people's heads when you're making a decent living? You're doing well for yourself. You're in a position of authority, a position of respect, a good position in life. You have a great fucking pension. All you got to do is work 20 years, 25 years when you're retired. Why would you fucking do something so stupid? Rick Vickrey, you come from Cleveland, a place where LeBron James, a fucking scumbag, and the Cleveland Indians, they don't win shit. What happens over there? What's
also where the music, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is.
You always get it confused. I'm in Cincinnati right now. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's Kentucky. That's Louisville.
But seriously, all jokes aside,
we love Louisville.
What do you think gets into people's heads, man?
This is just a simple case of there's some kind of chemical disorder in her mind, or an individual's mind like that. Even to go a little bit deeper into this, why was she hired in the first place? Is this a case of a quota being met? Because obviously there's something that they've missed in a psychological test that they should be highly concentrating on if you're going to employ someone in a position such as law enforcement.
That's a good point, because now, the fact of the matter is that in order to become a police officer, you do have to take these psychological tests, and these are things that people that they will fucking pick out. But what's been happening is over the course, and this is a great point that you made, Rick. What's been happening in the airlines? What's been happening in certain companies where they have certain people being promoted in positions? They're not hiring based on the fact that you're qualified for this position. But if there are 7 white people that are totally qualified, they're gonna give me the job. A high school graduate, Puerto Rican guy from Lower East Side, probably, because hey, we need a Puerto Rican guy.
Or
we
me,
need a
because I'm
Latino.
female.
Or April, or the
Even
Boots.
though I don't have the experience that this 7
Right.
white people have. Yeah.
We don't have enough women with big gimmicks. We have to bring April in. April, your thoughts on this? Like, what the hell gets in people's minds?
I think Rick has a very valid point. I got to laugh. Gam Wolfers is like, also Dick's is stupid expensive. Goodwill got the goods. I agree. I'll wear your grandma's clothes. I look incredible. I'm gonna offer a different perspective. I wonder if it's the thrill, because a lot of people will steal just for the thrill of it, just like a lot of people cheat for the thrill, and then once like everything's out in the open, they're just not like excited about it anymore. So I wonder if it was just like the thrill of it.
Also onto that, you toss in the thrill, April, and then there is that total sense of empowerment that comes with that uniform.
Yeah, that's it.
And your responsibilities. How can you push those boundaries? What can you get away with?
Right, honestly, I props to whoever did it, but who is going to stop a cop on duty for stealing? You know what I mean? She was probably like, I can do this. I got this. And
we regularly hear with these large retailers like this, like a Walmart, that they don't even prosecute people for shoplifting because it's not worth their time and their dime to go to court to just have it kind of thrown out, overruled. So they will let people just leave the premise. So it could have been something as simple as that. Who is going to stop me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think it's a power thing?
I think it's a combination of a lot of it. See what you can get away with.
Interesting.
Yeah, Hooper said he's got a theory that maybe she's tired of being a law enforcement officer. Maybe she's tired of seeing all the clowns get away with stealing. And she's like, I'm going to get mine.
My reparations, bitches. All right, very interesting. That was an interesting story. Again, this is right up the road from you guys, Rick Vickrey, and I figured, don't shoplift, Rick.
I try not to.
Okay, you do pretty well for yourself, so don't do that. All right, with that being said, April, we have about 10 minutes left. Anything you wanted to bring up before, maybe another story, something real quick before we can shut down? And
Sure, yeah. I wanted to say a thank you to our sponsors and give them a shout out. So we're sponsored by Wolfpack Gold, and right now gold is surging. So if you want to protect your money and make sure that your dollars aren't losing, like basically dollars are right now, and also grow your money, buy gold, buy silver. Go to aprilhunter.gold. That's not me, that's them. They just gave me a nice little URL. aprilhunter.gold. And go over there and get you some gold and some silver. And if you do a recurring buy, use the code 1776 and you get some free constitutional silver with that.
That's hot.
That is. And also we have a second sponsor. We have Monkey Cult Coffee, which is local right here in St. Pete. Monkey Cult Coffee is amazing. And they specialize in flavors that kind of pair well with liquor. So we've got like bourbon chocolate, liquor. So we have bourbon chocolate, we have honey agave. So go over and check out Monkey Cult Coffee. It's a small business, and a percentage of every bag you buy goes towards helping. We got children's cancer. So use the code April 10. Yep, National Pediatric Cancer. They did the research. They know that is one of the legit places. They give a percentage back. So if you use the code April 10, you get 10% off. Well, and their coffee is so freaking good. And I'm not just saying that.
Bourbon chocolate chip.
That's my favorite one, actually.
Golden honey agave roasted coconut rum. That's probably my gimmick there. Holy shit. Okay, so again,
really
ladies and gentlemen, you can see here. It's Monkey Cult. I like the design, by the way, on the bag.
Yeah.
It's really fucking
boozy coffee. We got some boozy coffee.
Like it.
So it's yummy, 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 yummy. So, but
let's wind this thing down with something that you picked out there, April.
Well, I did a music video that came out on Friday.
You did a music video?
I did for a girl who is up and coming. Her name is Jasmine Kane. She's a kind of a pop rock star. Okay. She's from Nashville, Tennessee. And she shot a music video, and she was looking for cosplayers to kind of do a little dirty video.
So you were in the video?
Yeah, I was in the video.
All right, so we're gonna play this video.
What were you thinking, Ray?
I know. I can't sing. You just heard me sing. I'll wear your grandma's clothes.
So let me throw these bastards. Let me throw this up here. So we'll play the music video and then we'll sign off for the day, ladies and gentlemen. What can you put over what the name of the video? And again, this is courtesy of Jasmine Kane, Evil Disco.
Jasmine Kane, Evil Disco just came out on Friday.
Tell her if we get a copyright claim, you're good. Let her know we did this, okay?
Yes, this is for entertainment purposes only, educational purposes only.
All right, we have she said it's okay for us to play this video, correct?
She wants us to push it, yes.
All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jasmine Kane, Evil Disco, featuring our own April Hunter, and then we're gonna sign off after this, guys. Here we go.
It's a little naughty.
It's getting hot, take a shot. Come on, show me what you got. Yeah. Break it loud, stand proud. If you're with me, shout it out. Yeah. If you want it more, I'm sure.
Hey, there's April.
If you're here for the high, come a little bit closer. Put your hands to the sky. Come on, come on.
That girl's boob fell out while she was dancing. That's me too.
Hey, that's April again.
Yes.
Whoa, April. Hey, April again.
Yeah.
It's a new day at dawn.
Look at my stress ball.
You need a glittery one.
April again.
They give us fake money and let us throw it at each other. It was so much fun. This was a fun morning. We had to be out by noon because that's when the strippers came in, though.
Say that again?
We had to be out by noon because that's when the strippers came in.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well,
we're in the morning. It was morning time. Yeah.
The afternoon squad.
Yes. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
It's a new day at dawn. It's a bolt of an arrow.
What is she gonna do with that strawberry? Oh yeah.
Come on, come on, come on. With me, baby, hold on tight. Dance with me, baby.
That's April again.
Let's go.
Here's my stress ball.
There you go. You need a disco looking stress ball right there.
Say again?
You need a disco looking stress ball.
No, I like this one. Like my wife got me this one.
Okay.
In case her boobies aren't around, I can squeeze these. Anyway.
Take a shot, come on, show me what you got.
I know that guy.
That Spingoli? Yeah.
Sangole.
That is him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. Is it just me or this is someplace I really want to be right now? Just saying.
Right.
This is a place where no problems exist right here.
April and her boobs. That girl's got a nice smile.
Yeah,
Eagle disco. Nice job. Nice job, young lady. All right, enough.
Yeah, back to the 90s when everything was fun and naughty and you could do whatever you wanted and say whatever you want.
God.
I was gonna say it had the song itself had an energy and a vibe of something you'd see as like opening Raw back in the Attitude Era.
Right?
My
Yeah,
nipples, my nipples are literally cutting through my my sweater right now.
I would have been marking out hard for Svengoli.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, I know that guy.
Yeah, we had fun with it. It was fun.
What a fun show this was. So, I'm not pec flex. All right, I'll try to pec flex.
Yeah, Vic, you got a pec flex.
Yeah.
Or Rick, I'm
moving?
sorry, I said Vic. Rick.
Yeah, Rick, you have to pec flex.
Yes.
Oh yeah, mine's more like a penguin move over here. It's my dancing too.
So I just want to, before we sign off, I want to let you guys know that next week I'm going to be away. I'll be in Florida. So I'm not going to have a show. April's going to be traveling. We're not going to have a show. I'm going to try to throw up. I'll try to throw up a good show. Just like a replay or something. It'll be on Twitter. On Rumble. I'll throw it up on YouTube. If you guys want something to watch.
I told him to put up a one we did with Shelley. That was a St. Patrick's Day, but apparently, Colin, it was loaded at too small of a resolution.
It was uploaded at 480p. So it looks like shit.
Yeah,
so
Colin.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyway, Rick Vickrey, my friend, the real RVB, again on social media at RV or RBV Media. Richard Bronson Vickrey, why don't you put over and pontificate for us, friend?
Again, such an honor, a pleasure to be here with you guys. Great conversation. Way better than what I usually do. Fall asleep to Dynamite right now. Yeah, what a way to spend Wednesday evening. But for everybody out there who might be new to me, please follow me over and check out all the amazing content at the Hamin Media Group. You can also subscribe to us there at Channel Attitude. You get more of that pretty mug, Big Ray, over there across the board. And the Hamin Media Group, or give me a follow across all social media at the real RBV. Or sorry, RBV Media. Correct myself there.
Mm-hmm. Very sexy. And remember, RBV eats out.
Hashtag RBV eats out.
Goddamn right he does. April.
Thank you, Rick, for coming on. I really appreciate it. We loved having you. And
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah, thank you. You guys can watch us live. If you're listening, you can watch us live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I can speak, right? You can see me on Patreon, April Hunter, aprilhunter.net, Instagram, Real April Hunter, Twitter, April Hunter. I'm super easy to find. I would love for you to find me. Thank you, everybody who was here. I know I didn't personally get to say hi to a lot of people because we went right into it, but I saw you. I read the comments. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I'm just going to shake my boobs at you just so you know that I love you, because when I shake my boobs and flex them at you, that's how you know I love you. So that's what's happening. Mwah.
And that's the most important way, ladies and gentlemen. We got some
big ass titties.
And we'll see you we won't see you next week. We'll see you the following week here at the A Show, ladies and gentlemen. In the words of the great CM Punk.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children.
We love you guys. God bless you guys. We will see you the following week here on the A Show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you.